everybody, welcome back. We are getting ready now for our next winter project. And what we're going to be making this time is a snowman in a snow globe. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen snow globes before. I'm actually going to show you some pictures before we get started. But a snow globe has glass, and usually there's some kind of object inside. When you shake it up, the snow flutters all around. Now, we're going to make our own version of this by putting a snowman looking up at the snow all above him. And we are going to do this with paper, okay? But I also want to give you that different art material to use, something different and fun. We're going to use some paint. But again, if you don't have paint, it's not a big deal. You can always do some type of drawing or your own version of this as best you can. Okay, we're going to go get started with our snowman in a snow globe. Hi boys and girls, and welcome back. So what we are going to get ready to do now is make our snowman in a snow globe. And for this project, what you would need is a piece of blue construction paper, black or gray, pencil, scissors, glue stick, and maybe color sticks. I have color sticks or construction color crayons, or even colored pencils that will show up on your blue. Maybe even regular crayons would work okay. And some white paint. I have my glue stick here. And some white paint as well. Now, again, if you don't have white paint, that's okay. You can use maybe a white crayon or a white colored pencil. And we are going to start now by tracing a circle. To make the top part of our snow globe, like I said, tracing a white circle. You can find some kind of object around your house, maybe a bowl. I have this in the classroom. It's a nice circle, if I hold it like that. And you can use that by putting it on top. And it's a little hard for me to show you in the video like this, but I would put my pencil here, if you could see like this on the side of it. I would take my pencil and trace around the bottom. So you could do that as long as your circle is not too big. Or if you simply want to, you can trace this freehand. That means that you can make your letter C curve and then a backward C curve, and you can just make a very nice medium to very large size, if you could see on my paper like that, circle on your blue paper. Now again, if you don't have blue construction paper, that would be the best, but if you don't, you can either color a piece of paper blue and then cut it out. You just need to have that darker color behind it so your white paint can show up. Now, as you can see, if you make a mistake, so as I was tracing, my line isn't perfect. That's okay. We're not using this side anyway. This is going to be the back. I say that all the time, that you want to make sure we don't want to see pencil lines, so the front of something actually becomes the back. So I am going to open, close with my scissors, and I'm going to very carefully stay on top of the line as best I can, and I'm going on that bigger line that I drew on the outside, and I turn, as you can see, as I hold the other side of the paper, I hold it thumbs up, and my scissors are thumbs up, my thumb is on the top, and I open, close very carefully, and turn as I go. So there is my circle. So even the pencil mark that I see, I'm going to be flipping it over and actually painting on this side. So no big deal about that. Now, when I go to do my bottom of the snow globe with my black piece of paper, and again, you can, the bottom doesn't have to be black. It could be really any color you want it to be. If you have a different color at home, that's quite all right. It's up to you. I'm actually going to make a trapezoid. I'm going to make that special shape. Now, I like to take some shortcuts sometimes to make my job a little bit easier. So the bottom of my trapezoid, the bottom of the snow globe, is going to have a nice straight horizontal line. Instead of drawing this in the middle of my paper, and then I have to make sure my line is super straight, I have to make sure I cut it out straight, why don't I just use the bottom of the paper that's already perfectly straight for me? Now, you can actually use a ruler too. if you would like to, or you could try your very best drawing as straight as you possibly can. I am going to put my circle here so I know how long I'm going to make. I'm just going to mark it off just a little bit. I'm going to make a line that's only this big. I'm only going to be putting it at the bottom. So I could take my ruler and redraw it so I could see, hopefully you guys can see that. Maybe I'll do this in white so you could see it on the black paper better. Okay, so I would, again, I'm only drawing it in white, boys and girls, so you can see it in the video. So that would be going underneath the bottom of my snow globe like that. So that's why I just held my circle there to measure. And now I'm going to make some diagonal lines going to the very bottom of my paper, the bottom of this. Okay, like so. And now all I have to do is cut 3 lines instead of 4 because the bottom is already, like I said, perfectly straight and already done for me. So again, open, close carefully. I still see some of those white lines. No big deal because I am actually turning it over. And now I have the bottom of my snow globe. I'm going to put a little bit of glue only along the top. Over here like so. I just put a little bit at the top. And I'm going to stick my circle like that. So there is the base and the top of my snow globe. Okay, the next step, what I have to do is make my snowman. Now, here comes the fun part. When I make my snowman, I am going to use that white paint I was telling you about. And I don't really need a brush. I could do this with my fingers. So if you want to use your pointer finger, that's fine. If you want a little bit more of a smaller snowman, depending on the size, you can use your pinky. But I am going to take my finger, my pointer, I'm going to dip it in my white paint. And I need to do my snowman at the bottom of the snow globe here. So I am going, now again, you could do this in different ways. You can go around in a circle, but I'm going to tap, tap, tap and make the bottom circle of my snowman like that. Now remember, the bottom of a snowman is the biggest. It's the largest circle because it's the base. It has to hold up the rest of our snowman. So that is my bottom. I'm going to make the middle of my snowman and I'm going to go around in a circle again. I'm going to start in the center, but now remember I need to tap, tap, tap around. And I'm going to make this a medium size. Don't make it bigger than the bottom. You don't want to make sure you don't make it any bigger. Otherwise, your snowman would topple over. And finally now, you need to make his head. And his head is going to be smallest, the smallest circle. So again, I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. I'm going to go around in a circle. And I'm going to make sure that is the smallest. Now, I also don't just want to leave my snowman like that. I have to use, I'm going to have some leftover white paint. I want to go now. You have to be very careful that you don't get this underneath or on the base. So maybe even if I shouldn't have glued this down, I could have even held off and did this first. Whoops. See, I could have went like this and put all my white paint at the bottom. That's probably the best thing to do, boys and girls. I should have, see, Ms.Wich makes mistakes and I fix it as I go. But you could put some snow at the bottom. So see how I have some white paint there? I'd wipe it up or make sure you have something underneath your paper on your table so you're not getting your dining room table or kitchen table dirty. Okay, and now I could go back and stick it down once again, like so. Finally, I also can take, I'm going to wipe my finger off with my paper towel, and I am going to take my pinky finger because I want very, very tiny, or maybe even if you had, say you did have a brush, I'm going to use not the tip of my brush, I could use the back of the brush, and I can just dip it in my paint like that, and I can make just some little dots, because remember, we're making our, see, that would be so much better. They are tiny snowflakes that are going to be flying around in our snow globe. So I'm going to tap, tap, tap the back of my brush. I bet you didn't know you could use the back of your brush to paint. And I'm going to go all around. Now remember, snowflakes in a snow globe, it's getting shaken up, and they are random. They're in all different places. So I don't want to see anybody putting snowflakes in perfectly straight rows. You don't want to do that. You want to put it all around. And you want to do all the painting all at once, because now I have to let this dry. So after this is dry, this is why you don't have to do this project. I'm going to give you some time. You don't have to do this all at once. You have to allow the paint to dry before you could go on to the next step. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this dry, and then I will do the next part of creating my snowman. Now that this is dry, I am going to create the snowman. And remember in my example when I first started to talk about this, I said our snowman is going to be looking up at all of the snow going around him. So I'm going to take my orange color stick, or like if you have a colored pencil, you can draw, in order to make it look like he's looking up. We're not going to see his eyes, but we are only going to see his carrot nose. So I'm actually going to draw like a triangle that starts on the top of the snowman like that, and then it goes above his head. So the point of the carrot of his nose is going up and above the head. That way it looks like he's going back. Now you can use a colored pencil, or if you want to use, I'm going to use a color stick just because it's going to stand out a little bit better on my blue paper. So now that is the tip of his nose looking up, and he is excited, and I'm going to use, now you could either use a thin marker, a black marker. I have a twistable colored pencil here. So you can make his mouth as if he's looking up and he's smiling. I'm going to make little dots and make his mouth like that as if he's looking up, and he has a smiley face there. Now I also need brown. I'm going to use a brown colored pencil or color stick, and I'm going to make, again, to make it look like he's looking up more, I'm going to make his arms look as if they are stretching up and reaching for that snow that's coming down. So I'm going to make one arm like that. Maybe I'll use, let's see if this shows up better. I know, boys and girls, it's a little hard to see sometimes when I'm doing this in the video, but when you see it in person in front of you, oh, maybe that's better. Okay, so I can go like that. And again, I'm going to make his tree branch arm reaching up as if he's going to grab that snow that's falling all around him. Okay, and next I'm going to make, oh, I forgot his little buttons going down the center. So you can make some buttons. And now I also need to make a scarf. I want to make a scarf for my snowman going from his neck under his chin. And being he is round, I have to make sure I go in a curved direction. So I'm going to make just a curved line going up. It could extend off of his neck a little bit, and then I can have the little fringy part of the scarf as well going like that. And it would overlap his hand, his arm. And there you go. I chose a nice bright color against my white, so you could do that as well. Pick a nice lighter color. And there is my snowman in a snow globe. I hope you guys had fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed painting and using some new art materials. I can't wait to see what you create. Bye, everyone.